Hey YouTube, Zach Guy here. Today I've got a Rough Rider RR2038. It's the work knife. Now I'm a sucker for Warcliffe blades for some reason. I just think that blade style is really cool. And when I saw this knife, thought it was interesting, opened it up and said, I like this. Another reason was the price. This is only $7. The sales gentleman, explained to me why it was a second at the time. What he told me was when they had originally gotten it and it was closed, the blade here was being very proud, sticking up, and could poke you. So they had to grind this part of the blade right here, not the blade itself, but the quillion. I think that's the right word for it. They had to grind that down so it would sit down into the handle, and therefore it was a second. And if you look at it, you can see a little bit of where it was, they ground it down at. Now, after I'd gotten this knife, brought it home, I saw on the Smoky Mountain Knife Works channel, they were talking about this knife. They were explaining why a lot of them had gone out of seconds, and he started talking about things that were wrong with it. So now I know all the imperfections on it. I've noticed them. I didn't notice them before. Doesn't bother me. It's a work knife. Cool looking work knife. I don't think they have any more in stock, but they're saying that they might have another version of this come out, probably with some different scales on it instead of the black micarta. I believe it's black micarta, but it's a smooth knife, kind of cool in that, well, it's got the half stop, as you can see. It's got on the bolsters the lines in it. It's 3 pins with a lanyard hole, lanyard tube there. It's got brass liners, stainless steel bolsters. Blade is stainless steel. I believe it's a 420. It's fairly sharp. I use it to cut cordage, open packages, and so on. Trim a stick here and there for whatever, what I might need it for. I'm not worried about using and abusing it. If it breaks, it was only $7 and doesn't bother me. Now, some of the stuff that they said about this, if you really, let me zoom in here a little bit. I don't know if it's picking up on the camera, but up here the scales are a little bit short, so the brass is showing. Where the scales and the bolster meet, it's got a bit of a gap on it. The pins, a couple of the pins are kind of proud, and you can feel them, so it's not completely smooth. But this is the first iteration of this knife, and the first time they used the particular factory, and there was a few things on it, and they made corrections, and hopefully the next one will be better. But still, the Rough Riders, even at their full price, oops, let's go out a little bit there, even at their full price, are only around $15. So I've seen a couple people have talked about they didn't care for the knife. Personally, I find it kind of handy. I like it. Give some of the specs on it real quick. Closed, it's 3 13/16 of an inch long. The blade is 3 1/16 inch, which gives you an overall opening of 6 7/8 of an inch. It weighs in at 2.9 ounces. Like I said, it was a factory second, but hey, it makes a good work knife. Use it to, like I said, just general stuff. Kind of like the nice point. I mean, there's not much it won't pierce. So I think that's one of the things I like about the Warcliffe blade is that point and the straight edge, so you can get a straight cut on things. I've used it to score some wood when I wanted to cut it because I didn't have a pencil or a pen on me at the moment. So that comes in handy. Well, I hope you like this little review of the Rough Ryder work knife. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below, and remember, always be prepared.